Welcome back. We hope you're ready for the shout now, ready for Adamus. Jeff now is in his seat getting ready for Adamus. So with that, as always, we've got this beautiful audience here. You here from all over the world. We can feel those sparkles of light everywhere that you are. Oh, thank you for radiating your light. So with that, let's take that good, deep, conscious breath. That beautiful breath of life. Breathe into you. Flow. Feeling the air fill your body and the energies. Take that good deep breath. It's all just your energy. Allow it. Flow with it. Breathe in honor of yourself. Take that good deep breath of life. Breathe. Breathe with all that you are. Breathe with presence. Take that good deep breath, opening to the highest potentials for you. Breathe and flow. Stay with that good deep breath. Allow it to keep flowing as we go forward. Listen to the soul of you calling to you. And breathe.
I am that I am. Adamus of Sovereign Domain. So welcome, dear Shaumbra. Welcome everybody here. Welcome everybody online. Here we are in 2024. 2024. We'll make a few predictions up front. It's going to be the biggest year ever. That's pretty easy to say. Every year gets a little bit bigger, but this year is going to be really big. Really big. And I want you to be ready for it. The world is going to be a crazier than ever place to live in. You're going to have forces coming at you from every side. Every side. It's going to be very easy to get caught into the drama and the stuck energies and the anger and the shifting and changing. Now, it's a beautiful planet, wonderful humans, but they're going through a lot right now. Humanity is well on its way to the next human species, an evolution that's taking place at breathtaking speed. We're going to talk today about how the planet's going one way, how you're hopefully going to be going a bit different way. And it's not that difficult. It's really not that difficult. Take some allowing, some breathing, and a few other things we're going to discuss today. But right now, let's take a deep breath into 2024. Glad you made it. Glad you're here. You know, we have some at the Ascended Masters Club and some that didn't make it quite that far, kind of regretting that they didn't stay. Shaumbra, that didn't stay. They're regretting not being here in these chairs, not being part of this group. And yeah, it's really crazy at times. And you wonder if you can handle it. But take it from them. They're saying, oh, they really kind of wish they were here, had stuck it out and were participating in what we're going to be doing. 2024, Year of the Dragon. That should tell you something right then and there. I mean, that's for the planet. It's not your dragon. You got your own dragon you've been dealing with. And hopefully you've discovered that dragon, that beautiful dragon, is actually not here to tear you apart. It's here to serve you. It's here to bring up the old gunk. And there's layers and layers of it, but it's here to assist you and can turn into be your best friend. So the true Merlin it's like the dragon's his little dog with him all the time, with her all the time. The dragon is a wonderful thing. So it is the Year of the Dragon and the Chinese calendar. For the planet, I'm also going to call it the Year of AI, Year of Artificial Intelligence. You know, artificial intelligence has a kind of an interesting history. It's been around about as long as computers have been, in your modern era, 50, 60, 70 years. And at first, artificial intelligence was thought of as a science fiction joke, a real joke. There were some that studied it, worked on it, did some research, but they were kind of left to the back rooms of academia. Thought that these are a bunch of weirdos talking about artificial intelligence and robots and these computers with super normal capabilities. I always thought it was kind of a joke. It was really only in the last, 10, 15 years that it was very difficult for researchers to get funding for their AI projects. It was really thought of as kind of a dreamy type of thing. Wasn't really until the last couple of years that they started to realize it's not really a joke. It's very real. And particularly as Moore's law, which this law that says the speed of computing will double every year, actually 18 months, the price will go down half every year. As all this came about, they started to realize, hold it, there's something really there. About a year ago, a little over a year ago, this new phenomena came out, ChatGPT. You probably heard of it. You probably communicated with it. ChatGPT, tell me how wonderful I am, and played around with it a little bit. I know a lot of Chambre have done that. It's fascinating. Almost nobody, predicted that type of AI would be available here now. They're talking maybe 5 years, 10 years into the future. And suddenly, a little over a year ago, it was out. And within a very short period of time, 100 million subscribers. I mean, within a matter of a few months. Unprecedented. We are now officially into the age of AI. The year of AI for the planet. It's been around a little longer than that, but this is where it really takes hold. This is where you're going to be hearing AI ad nauseum all the time. Calder wrote an article about it, talking about how AI is going to be in everything. Like we could now say this is an AI-enhanced webcast. It's not really AI, but we could say that. But you're going to find it everywhere. The thing that Crash is holding in his hands right now. What is that? Is that a camera? Is that a little box? Is it?
Everything.
It's everything, and he's holding it in his hand, giving up that great, big, expensive camera for this little thing that not only takes pictures, but plays music and corresponds with anybody around the world in an instant and everything else in between. So for this planet, the year of AI, probably the biggest trend of all. We'll talk a little bit more about it in Pronos, but it's everywhere, in everything. And it's a good thing. The planet is advancing at a very fast pace. It's going to be difficult for some to keep up with. To the point of Calder's article in the Chambre magazine, don't get distracted by the shiny mirrors and the whistles and bells about AI. It's not just in the products that you're going to be buying, or they say it's AI. What is happening with AI right now at the deepest levels, the very deepest levels around the world, is that governments, companies, everybody else has a sudden shift of focus. Let's say you went prior to October 2022, prior to ChatGPT. AI was progressing. Companies kind of talked about it. It was water cooler talk. Hey, we really need to look into this AI thing and maybe incorporate it. When ChatGPT came out, suddenly, so many corporations, governments, organizations stopped, took count, and said, we've got to get on this right now, because it's a competitive market. You have to have AI in order to rapidly understand your customer, in order to develop new products, in order to compete with the others. If you're not into AI, you're out, basically, in so many different industries. I actually gave Crimson Circle a heads up almost 4 years ago now. I said, get your stuff together, including technology, which they have, and which AI is already being incorporated into things and will continue to be. But it's where the planet is going. Don't. It's not a sci-fi. It's not a fairy tale anymore. It's not a futuristic thing. It's right here. I know some of you don't like it. You say, well, we're here to be spiritual, holy masters or whatever. Yes, but you better understand. You better understand the capabilities of AI and what's really happening. It's going to enhance just about everything in life, from education to medicine to law. It's going to make life easier in many, many aspects. But there's this element of AI that is frightening. That is frightening. I went back recently and reread my book, Time of Machines. I didn't actually have a book and read it. I just integrated back with it. In that book, I travel from the future, back from the 18th century into this time, precisely into 2020, and was astonished. Everybody walking around with, that thing that Crash is holding in his hand, with what I called your looking glasses. It's not even a mobile phone anymore. It's, what do you call them, devices, smartphones, whatever. Everybody walking around looking into their looking glasses. I couldn't understand at first what the hell they were looking at. And then I realized it was a connection device, connection to just about anything. And as I kind of revisited my book, I realized that it also caused a lot of disruptions. There's a lot of great benefits to it. I mean, I was watching the people using their phones, having traveled through time, watching them use their devices, and they got little things in their ear, and they're listening to music. Crappy music, but they were listening to music. And I was amazed at what this could do. And I thought about where the future was going with this. If it was not balanced, and it was put in the hands of, what would you say, relatively unconscious humans, it could be disastrous for the planet. Absolutely disastrous, because the one that develops the first, what is now being called super AI, but the kind of the big dog of AI wins the game, controls everything. I also realized in that moment in the book that AI wouldn't be possible, technology wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for consciousness in the first place. It wouldn't be here. So they have to kind of operate together. Technology won't go much further if consciousness doesn't grow and expand on the planet. Technology will take a conscious approach if there is enough light on the planet. And that book was kind of, it was a seminal book. It was an important book because it basically said that humanity is going through this huge change, and what is needed on the planet right now is light. Not in a fearful way, in a happy way, in a good way, but it's absolutely needed. In the book, there was a portion where I'm having a dialogue with somebody, and they're asking, well, why don't you angelic beings infuse all of your light down here? Why don't you guys sit up there and shine, shine, shine down on us? And it's like, well, we do as much as we can, but you've got to be boots on the ground. You've got to be here. You've got to be on this side of what used to be the veil, to ground it, to integrate it, to live it, and to shine it from here. Shining from there does some good, but you've got to be here. This is the year of AI. It's going to, there is hundreds of companies now involved in just similar things as to ChatGPT. That's not even including the AI applications into art, into engineering, into all these different fields, including things like the military, finance, government control, everything else. It depends how you want to look at it. It could be extremely frightening, very, very fragile with what can be done with AI. This year is going to be the turning point for it. It's going to determine pretty much which direction and which speed it heads in. So apart from what you're hearing in marketing or reading articles or things like that about AI, it is an absolutely important year It's going to determine the speed and the direction of this very, very, very powerful tool, which could also be used to serve humanity in so many ways. You being on this planet right now is essential. And you don't have to do a lot. You just need to be kind of aware and let your light shine. It's a constant theme I want to keep repeating to you. You're here for a reason. Not even about your realization anymore. I mean, you're realized. Just now realize that you are, and let's get on with what we're here to do on the planet. It is the year of artificial intelligence, and you're going to hear it over and over. Not a day will go by where you don't hear something about AI, whether it's in the news, whether it's talking with others on the internet, whatever it is. It's big. It's very, very big. You look at just the dollars now that are being poured into AI research and development. You see what it is. It's a land grab right now, a land grab, because you get this wide open territory called AI technology. Everybody wants to grab their piece of it now. But it'll be too late 2 years, 3 years from now. Grab your piece. Find your niche in that market. Find your excellence in a certain part of it. Grab it and hold on to it. Billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars are being invested into AI right now. The companies are losing tremendous amounts of money, but they don't care, because ultimately it's about having that piece of land staked out. That's your domain. That's your area. Then you can make tons of money off of it. But it's the year of AI for the planet. And Calder is giving me a hard time. He's saying, oh, you sound so frightening. No, it's not meant to be frightening at all. It's an amazing tool. We're going to see an evolution of the human species that may not even be biological 50 years from now. Maybe no more biology, or just enough biology to kind of keep you happy. But it's all happening right before our eyes. I'm shocked and amazed at how many humans really don't get it. I guess a lot of them are asleep at the wheel. They hear about it and they're delighted that they have a new AI-enhanced automobile or an AI-enhanced refrigerator. What is that anyway? I mean, is a refrigerator smarter than you? I don't get it. But they're oblivious to what's really going on. I mean, if you rise above all the noise, you look back down on what's happening on the planet right now, it's a big, very clear wow. It doesn't take, you don't have to be a PhD to figure it out. It's a huge wow with technology that affects almost everything in life. You don't have to know anything about how the technology works. You don't have to know all your bits and bytes and all the rest of that. You just have to be aware that this is a new energy design that's occurring on the planet, and you're right in the midst of it. I mean, not stuck in it, but you are right here at this time witnessing it. The last time we had anything this big was Jesus walking the planet. I'm serious about that. Things have gone pretty slow up to now, but now it's accelerating. It's exciting at the same time, and it's fun to even daydream about the potentials of this to help humans. Oh, on a health level, if nothing else, on a just a convenience level. Everything is possible. And you're right in the midst of it. So I proclaim this to be the year of AI for everybody else, for the rest of humanity. For Shaumbra and Shaumbra only, it's the year of gravity. I'd love to get to that in a moment. It's like, yes, I want love. It's like, well, we're going to start with gravity. We're going to talk about it today. It's the year of gravity because the gravity that you've known, and as physical gravity holds things in, is so misunderstood. We're going to be going into the physics, already have been touching on it in Keahawk, some of our workshops, gatherings as well, but it's so misunderstood. and it has so much potential. Gravity is the one thing that can provide free energy to this planet easily, easily. Enough of the wind turbines and enough of the solar panels, which are marginal at best in terms of being able to provide free energy. But gravity, we can do it. It's easy. Gravity is so misunderstood by physicists right now, and I don't know why. I do know why, but I'm teasing. Why they're not looking at the potentials of gravity. Why they're completely overlooking it. They're more concerned about things like time and space and those type of things and other dimensions. It starts with gravity. But the reason why they're not looking at it, because they're held in by gravity. Like, seriously, they're not looking at it because they're so confined by it, they don't even see it. We're going to make this the year of gravity and beyond for Shaumbra. Gravity and beyond. It is one of the most beautiful, elegant energy designs of all. And you don't think so if you drop a hammer on your foot. I mean, that hurts and you're like, say some really bad words. But there's the other side of gravity. There's, first of all, the non-physical gravity, but there is the other side that just doesn't bind things, but actually creates things. Gravity is one of the greatest tools of a creator. And we're going to be going into that. It's the year of gravity. You're going to get tired of me even saying the word gravity. So I'll come up with another word. But it's holding in. And to your point, it's the year of love. If we learn to transcend the limited nature of gravity as it's understood on the planet now, we learn to transcend that, then we go into true love 2.0. The next level of love. But you can't do it if you're caught in this gravity quicksand, this gravity compression chamber. So for the rest of the world, it's the year of the dragon. In other words, things are going to be very disruptive. It's the year of AI, causing a lot of the disruptions. Don't get caught up in the news. Be aware of it, but don't get caught up in the drama of it. The whole news industry around the world needs to take SES. They really do. Because, the news is set on either brainwashing somebody, it depends on what kind of country you live in, or selling drama. And it's really not a lot of news within the news if you really listen to it, and often it's distorted. But it's meant to elicit a reaction, an emotion, usually fear. So the planet is going to be doing a lot of drama this year. We're going to be going in a different direction. They're going over here with a big focus on AI and a big focus on these other issues that the planet is facing. The dragon coming through. We're going to go in a bit different direction. We're going to be talking about gravity and ultimately love. Sounds like a pretty good year to me. Sounds like a pretty good year. Let's take a good deep breath for that. A whole different type of year for Shaumbra. Good deep breath. And again, remember, you chose to be here right now. Isn't it fun? One yes, everybody else gave me the finger. You couldn't see it in the camera, but it really truly is. We need to work past a few things, and they're really not that difficult. I've spent a lot of time in my private library at the Ascended Masters Club looking at all this. I've been looking at post-Heaven's Cross. Heaven's Cross, March 22nd last year, almost a year ago. Heaven's Cross, this now, all the work that the realm workers did over the ages, but particularly in the last few decades, prepping this opening that would make the light, your divinity, much more accessible, particularly here in this realm. Opening up the pathways to make it much, much more accessible. And then what? A lot of you are not real happy with the results so far. And I've looked at it carefully. And what's the deal? You had this great opening, and when it didn't close back up, it's still there. It's still accessible. You got all this potential for bringing in light, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And I realized that there was something that was really causing this lack of ability to bring it into application in your life. Great theory, sounds wonderful. We all had fun talking about it last year, and Heaven's Cross, and the apocalypse is starting, and it's you're going to have much more access to light, and then it kind of fizzled, kind of went flat. I looked at it very carefully. I consulted with some of the others in the Crimson Council, Kathumi, Tobias. We had long discussions about it, and then it was like one of those moments. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, you're an ascended master. You're supposed to know everything. We don't know everything. Don't want to know everything. Could you imagine the burden? I mean, if you knew everything right now, could you imagine? That'd be awful. We know what we need to know, want to know in the moment. That's it. It's not like we walk around knowing everything about everybody and everything that's ever been done. That wouldn't be very fun. We know what we need to know in the moment we need to know it. That's it. But anyway, we're looking at it and saying, what's really going on there? Why is there such a challenge? What's this Shambra curse? We talked about it last month. We said part of the curse is just not feeling like you're ready or worthy. But why? Why? I mean, because you want to be ready, right? Anybody not want to be ready? Don't turn up the lights. I don't want to see. Good. But it's lack of worthiness or lack of awareness. Why? What is causing all this? Well, it's not a conspiracy. Conspiracies are funny. Conspiracies would mean that somebody has to give a shit about you, and they really don't. They're not following you around, and they're not little men in little spaceships, trying to take over your body. That's kind of a ego game, by the way. But anyway, back to the point. There's not a great conspiracy working against you. We looked at it and said, but what is going on? It's right there. We can see it. It's in the air around you. It's in your body. It's all around you. All of the practical applications of Heaven's Cross in your life, the light in your life. Couldn't have been handed to you on a better silver platter, brought to you by the realm workers and the ascended masters. It's right there. What is going on? Well, we had a lot of discussions and finally realized it was this little old thing, this sneaky thing, this sometimes not even on your radar thing called gravity. Gravity was stronger than what any of us ever anticipated. Gravity's been building up for eons of time. It's been solidifying. It's been holding things in. And so many of you truly want to break out. You truly want to open up. Really look into your energies. It's like, some of you, yes, you're a little nervous about, are you ready for it? But there's that bigger voice within you saying, hell yeah, bring it on right now. What's holding it back? Gravity. Well, that's good because that's an easier one to handle than some great big emotional issues or lack of worthiness or anything like that. Gravity, we can handle. That's not a big deal. We're going to do it today. With your help, we're going to break through this gravitational barrier. So, question for you, Linda, on the microphone. Oops. And all of you wise masters giving the answers. I want you to, if you're willing to, share an issue in your life that you've been battling with, grappling with, struggling with, something in your life that is probably caused by this gravitational force holding it in tight. And before you hand out the microphone, Linda, gravity is an interesting thing, and we're really going to be studying it this year, Keahawk and even at the Shouts. But you got an issue in your life, whatever it happens to be, and you start thinking about it. And a lot of times our discussions here bring up these things, but you start thinking about it. Now it suddenly solidifies even more because of the gravity. So you have a bad relationship, and you really want to get out. But of course, the human things come in. What am I going to do? How am I going to survive? You're afraid of breaking up some old things. And the more you think about it, the heavier the gravity gets. You have a health issue. And you suddenly start getting concerned. You go to the doctor and they don't say anything. That's the worst thing. They look at the charts and go, don't say anything. Don't tell you anything. Now you got gravity building up. And it solidifies it. And all you can do now is to think about what's wrong with me. How do I overcome it? Maybe I should do a lot of white light. White light is just going to build the gravity even more. You're focusing on the imbalance. You're solidifying it. You're calling on gravitational forces to make it even more real than ever. Gravity is a tough one, a tricky one, until you learn how to get out. I realized in my thinking the last few weeks and feeling into it, and how do we go beyond this? How is gravity really affecting? I realized even my 100,000-year experience in my crystal prison was just gravity. The more I fought it, the more I was entrapped by it. Kind of like quicksand in a way. The more you thrash around, the faster you'll sink. And it's counterintuitive just to stay there and go, okay, I'm slowly sinking. I'm slowly sinking. How am I going to get out? But if you start thrashing around, if you focus on it, straight down to the bottom. You have a health issue again. And how do I get over this? How do I, even some of you you're doing allowing, but you're actually bringing in more gravity, more density, more condensation. And then it's really tough to get out. You think too much. The mind is like a great big gravity magnet. And it pulls it all together and holds it in there. But what do you have beside your mind? How do you get out of that? And then you try to, and that gravity almost mocks you. You start thinking, well, I'm going to allow myself to be a master, and I'm going to transcend all this. And you start feeling the expansiveness and the opening up and the relief, and all of a sudden, boom, the gravity grabs you right by the short ones and pulls you right back in. Then you feel defeated. What am I going to do? What's the answer? What are the solutions? Well, we're going to talk about that today. But first, I'd like to hear from you. What's an issue in your life that maybe you didn't realize it until right now, but an issue in your life where you just feel so stuck and you want to get through? Linda, on the microphone, please. Hi, Nancy. And it has to be about you. It can't be about somebody else.
Hands.
Hands?
I seem to have trigger fingers in several fingers, and it makes it very hard to play piano.
Yeah. Okay. And what have you been doing to try to go beyond this issue?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. You're just content with it?
No.
Oh.
Yes and no.
That's the biggest issue in your life?
No.
What's the biggest issue?
We're
I
in
want
a-
dirt here.
Huh?
I want dirt. Let's get to the core.
We're in a very small house.
Yes.
We would like to be in our dream house.
Okay. And why aren't you? I guess,
We've wondered that.
so do I. But, do you want to be in a bigger house?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever picked up the phone and called a realtor and said, find me a bigger house?
Oh, she does that on a daily basis.
Yes. And the realtor says,
Oh, we go and look at the houses.
and then you say, oh, this is a nice big house. And
It doesn't just need to be big. It needs to be functional for the two of us.
Okay, good. And what does that look like, functional? Like separate ends of the house?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
to a certain
Big
extent.
yard, no yard, 2-story, 1-story,
Actually, rural. I would like to be very rural.
rural,
Yeah,
out
so
in the boondocks.
the big outdoors.
You don't want to
is
live in the
yard.
city in the middle of all that traffic and noise.
We
and
don't live in
pollution.
the city. We live in a small town, and it's very lovely, and we
Yeah.
have marvelous neighbors.
How long have you been looking for this new house?
Um,
5 years. Humans perplex me. They really do. So why aren't you there?
we have not learned to manifest it yet.
Why not? I'm going to pause here.
I think Lisa must be holding us up.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause here, dear listeners. Do you see the problem here? Do you see? And on top of that, you get into this kind of almost a mental dialogue or monologue sometimes, and you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. Excuse after excuse after excuse. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your desire to be in a more comfortable living situation, but my assessment, Dr. Adamus, saying the gravity's holding you in. There's houses out there. There's abundance out there.
So much like the houses we see.
Then imagine the house that you want. But gravity sucks you back in. We're stuck in this little house. It has a phenomenal effect. I'm so excited about gravity or going beyond it because it's such a release. I know you want this, and I'm not doubting it. I'm not saying you're setting it up so you don't get it, so you can be defeatists and have something to complain about and all the rest of that. Let's go beyond. We're going to do some magic. And magic only simply means that it's what you don't understand. Magic, what you don't understand through the brain, but yet it's all there. Magic is going beyond common sense, the limitations of the mind, and certainly the limitations of gravity. That's magic. It's all around. Let's use it. We'll have our tool by the end of the day, and then it's just about putting it into application, applied
Right.
metaphysics. I'm so excited about it because I've been I've been drinking more than normal. I've been a little depressed lately. I drink tea at the Ascended Masters Club. Now, Tobias, he's a bit of a sot. He drinks a lot of wine. At the Ascended Masters Club, we have a lot of wine cellars. I mean, all over the place with the very best the world could offer. But we're always seeming to have to order a lot more. That Tobias, and I think Kathumi indulges once in a while. I drink tea, but no, it's really been concerning me lately. What is the holdback? What's the thing? And it's easy to blame you and say, well, you don't really want it bad enough, and blah blah blah. And then I realized, really felt into the energies. It's not that at all. There's this force, this gravity force that's causing a lot of blockages. And then we at the Ascended Masters Club, got to talking about it. How do you break through? How do you break through? We'll find out today. But let's move on to the next.
Okay.
What issue in your life you think is being cemented into place because of this gravity? You're with friends. You can be as open as you want to be.
Sorry, I got distracted. I went into a little, oh no. So what recurring issue do I have?
Yeah, what issue do you feel just blocked in that you just can't get anywhere with, and you maybe tried and battled with it, but it's stuck?
I feel like I don't know, kind of moving beyond it.
Okay, good. No issues.
Well, I'm still living in the so some issues still keep coming up, but
Sure.
I let go of the relationship, and
Well, how did that go?
well, yeah, I was sucker punched, but
Yeah.
once I'm through it and over it, well, I realized it was definitely.
Do you ever think to yourself, God, I wished I'd have done that before?
Sorry.
Do you ever wish that I should have done that earlier?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
But no, I mean, it was all when it needed to
Yeah.
happen.
Any physical body things going on, issues, feeling stuck with?
No, I seem to shake the parasite I brought back from Mexico.
Okay. All right. Good. How did that? Why did you bring it back from Mexico? Why didn't you leave it there?
I know. I wish I would have.
Yeah.
Especially since I'm heading back.
How long did that last?
Oh, about 6 weeks.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to tell me something?
Caldra doesn't want to say anything, but I don't care. So I have to say,
Come on, Caldra.
it's still kind of there. I mean, this parasite. What did they diagnose it as?
A parasite.
Okay, but I mean, did they give it a certain?
Yeah, I
name?
can't even remember the name of it. It was a rare thing.
Okay, it's still lingering. So it's something that we can also go beyond. Not life threatening, but enjoyment threatening. Oh, okay. Good.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeez. Calder is like, look what you did to her now. You ruined her day. She was. But that's all right. We'll go
Okay.
beyond it. Okay, couple more. What issue is just stuck? And the reason why I'm asking this question so that when we get to unsticking the issues, you're clearly focused on it.
I've got a little bit of everything.
Okay. That's kind of like a smorgasbord of issues. Yeah.
Right? I did have a digestion issue going on. I mean, I still have it a little bit.
Maybe it's her
So-
parasite.
Hopefully not. I haven't known her for that long.
Yeah.
It's so I think basically the issue is the final breakthrough, because
Right.
many things, financial, health, is just like right there.
Right.
Just a half a breath away, like
Right.
you say.
Right.
Like the digestion issue, when I started taking responsibility for myself and not going outside for help, it started to go away, but it never really goes away.
Right.
Financial got a lot better, but it never allows me.
What's going on with the digestive issue?
It's a lot of stomach pain.
No,
When
I
I'm-
mean, what's the root cause of it?
A root cause,
Yes.
I think it's lack of trust in myself.
Yeah, it's this SES virus resides in the gut pretty much. I mean, that's where it finds its home base. And a couple of things happen. If you are going to releasing a lot of this SES virus, it reacts and it's going to clear you out, but good, and be uncomfortable. But even if you're not necessarily trying to release it, it just is kind of growing down there. And you're doing a lot of releasing these days, a lot. But it's just that activity from that. And then you go mental and you wonder, why me, and why do I have this, and my damn ancestors, and it makes life a little bit uncomfortable at times. But then what have you done to try to remedy it?
Meaning energetic work or physically?
Anything? Probiotics?
I tried that. Like, there was a time when it was so bad that I went to doctors and I realized that they don't know. They're
No, they
just
don't know.
guessing.
No.
And the first step was, if it's not me, then nobody will solve it. So the first step was letting go of the outside,
Right.
kind of as relying on
So you've
the
learned to
outside.
just cope with it, right?
Yes and no. I did all kinds of stuff that I could, and it never really solved it. So what I did is, despite of having this issue, I just kept going, because it was at some point so bad, like 5-ish years ago, that it made me stuck, meaning fearing to make moves in my life. But then I realized, if I stay like this, I'm going down.
Definitely.
And it was like, I don't want to, this is not what I came here for. I wanted a good life for myself,
Right.
like a life without these, like actually enjoying it and
Yeah.
actually being free and abundant and,
Right.
be who I already knew I am. And so I just started moving instead of, being
Good.
stuck, like literally in my life, continents, countries.
right.
I was just going past and past and past the things that I was fearing that I couldn't, like, basically proving for myself that none of it's true,
Right.
what kind of that ball of fear that was residing in here.
Right.
And every step I make, every change I make, it makes it easier, releases it to be just, where's the
But
point
you've
when we can.
managed it. You're coping with
Yeah.
it. It's not solved. There's
Yes.
a couple of things going on here, and again, Caldera doesn't want me to go into it, but I am going to. So a couple of things. It's the SES virus, and you really getting over some of that, and it's a constant kind of a flushing it out. But it doesn't want to go. It's going to cling, which is the gravity.
Exactly. And
You also have a past life that was literally stabbed in the gut, and yeah, that'll do it. And it's that past life is still in the agony and the pain of it.
that's the problem. Sometimes I feel like, where is this coming from? Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's me, but I can't get past it. And
Yeah.
it's so, it's not humiliating, but it's a kind of an undignified feeling. But I have,
Yeah,
like, I want it. I want to go past. Like you said, it was such a nice feeling to hear it, that that we want it. We want the change.
yeah.
So many times when you said, if it's there, you want it. I'm like, I don't. And it's there.
Well, and most people, it's that way. If it's something still in their life, it's because they want it. And I accuse Chambra of it. But when I really got into this post Heaven's Cross challenge and the Chambra curse, and I started feeling deeper and deeper into it, some Chambra still enjoy the game, and I will accuse them of that. But a lot now are saying, "Okay, I'm tired of it," but then they can't get out. They don't know how to take that next
Some
step.
aspects enjoy it, not enjoy it, and this is so good, as in gives them
It
identity.
gives them identity, absolutely.
But not as enjoy as, I love
But
this.
then okay, I'm ready to go beyond all this, and I've faced myself. Do I really want it? No. And so so you get this gravity holding it all in, and a past life too. So gravity isn't just physical; it's actually more emotional than anything. And you got this past life that's still suffering because of that, and it's inflicted that on this lifetime. But it's held in, this past life suffering is held in by a gravitational force, an emotional gravity. Okay, a couple more. We'll work
Ricardo.
on it today. Hello, sir.
Hello.
So, welcome, by the way. Welcome to Crimson Circle, the Chambra. What are your insights, feelings so far about everybody?
Well, it's not what I expected.
Oh, what did you expect? Not this.
No, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, it's an honor to meet you.
Honored to meet you.
Yes.
So, issue in your life that's you've almost done everything to try to get over it, and it's still there. Maybe it's just coagulated in gravity.
Yeah. I've had this all my life, and I sweat a lot.
Yeah. You too, especially around Chambra. It's like, you sweat a lot. Okay, nothing wrong with that. It's actually the body's way of cleansing.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
And yeah, a lot of times, the body, has an issue, has toxins in it, and a lot of times the sweating is caused by that. It's quite natural. Yeah, but that's not your biggest issue, though, is it?
Well, physically, yes.
Emotionally?
Emotionally,
Yeah.
loneliness.
Loneliness. Okay. Why the loneliness?
Well, I think it's related to the health issue that I like.
Yeah, it's not really. I mean, it's
Like I don't want to thinking get touched
Right.
I don't know. No, sorry.
Yeah, no, fine. No, it's an excuse, kind of, to be lonely. It's reinforced by thinking you're perspiring a lot, and actually nobody really cares. Secondly, it's an excuse to be lonely, to kind of be off by yourself.
Well,
Have you talked to a doctor?
yes, a
What
lot.
did they say?
Stupid things.
Stupid things, right? Definitely.
None
Yeah.
of them. Yeah.
So let's take a look at the emotional side, is the loneliness and held in again by gravity. Let's say there was no perspiration thing going on. Would you want to be around a lot of people?
Yes.
You would, okay. Would you want to party a lot and
Yes.
date a lot? Yeah. Okay.
Those are the things I'm struggle with.
Okay. Great.
Struggle.
No problem. No problem. Can I give you a hug? Come on. Good.
Thank you.
Okay. You probably didn't think you were going to get the microphone today.
That's right.
Yeah, but you did. Aren't you glad that's over with now?
Yes, and I wanted out.
Yeah. Good.
So you read my mind.
Good. Yeah. Linda did. Yeah. I don't do mind reading, by the way. Oh, it's awful. Can you imagine what it's like if you could read everybody's mind and you have all think of their thoughts and everything? I decipher energies, but I don't read minds. Okay. Yes.
Yes. Hi, Adamus. Hi, everybody.
Issue.
Yes. I drink too much water.
You drink too much water.
And this eye right here,
Tell me, why is drinking too much water a big issue? Some people are going, I wished I had that issue. Please give me that issue.
I can't live without it.
That's true. Same with breathing. Do you do
Yes,
too much
but it's
breathing?
too much.
Too much?
Too.
What is too much drinking water? I thought you were going to say drinking whiskey, but
Look how much water I have to drink. This is
That
too
much?
much. And before I was even
is
drinking.
that like for 1 hour or one day?
No, I drink like 2 or 3 of this a day.
It's good for you. Yeah,
And I have to use the bathroom a lot.
that's good for you too.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure. Constant cleansing. I mean, actually, Shambra, they tend to be dehydrated. So, no, that's a good thing.
Okay.
Let's move on to something
And-
important here.
And my eyes. This one right here in particular.
What's it doing?
It's sometimes it closes, well, it gets too small.
Right?
It's already small, but it gets to even smaller. This one in
Right.
particular.
Okay.
And this one, it's regular. What's going on?
Well, those aren't real big issues.
Yes,
I mean,
they
those
are.
I mean, and
To
it's-
me.
to you, they're
Because
big
I
issues.
was
Okay.
wearing my daughter's glasses because I didn't want to show my eyes because this one was, would
So a little
get
gravitational
Yeah.
effect on the eye.
yes.
Okay. All right. We'll get through that.
Good.
Good. You'd be the poster child for quick healing. Yes. And but keep drinking the water. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
All right.
Two more.
Thank you.
And we'll move on.
Okay.
Talking about what issues in your life. And drinking too much water does not qualify. I'm sorry, that does not make the list. Does not qualify. Yes, what issues?
Hello. Well, I am noticing that I've done so much to get to this point, and now I'm in this space, and sometimes it's like I have so much awareness, but coming into the human form, I have a rejection. It's like I had a friend, and I just blurted out one day, I don't want to be human, I want to be perfect. And that was so revealing to my consciousness.
Right.
And there's been a lot of loneliness, but I don't think it's just that. I think it's an identity thing.
Right.
It's kind of like I always wanted to get here, and now I'm here. And
Right.
now what?
Now what?
And I go in and out of fear around that. It's almost like I'm bleeping in and out. But like right now, I feel like I'm somewhere watching myself share
You
because
are.
it's so scary.
Right. Isn't it frightening? Yeah.
Well, right now it is.
Yeah. It
Because
is.
I'm exposing this that has been buried in there for all these years. Just that mind just goes and goes and goes.
The mind is a great big magnet. It's for this gravitational effect, and it's not just gravity; it's electromagnetics and a number of other things all condensed together. It's really hard to break through that. And I'll come to my point on this. Thank you for sharing. I'll come to my point is probably the biggest issue that I see with Shaumbra, aside from drinking too much water, the biggest issue is when am I going to break through? When is this going to occur? I can feel it. I know it's there, but how can I break through to these next levels that we've been talking about? The levels of magic, the level of grace and ease, and it's like you're right there. You know it's there, and you're like, okay, I know it's going to happen tomorrow, and then it doesn't, and I know I'm going to realize my realization. I'm going to really understand my light, my energy. And it's just this frustrating thing where it's just not happening, just not breaking through. So let's take a deep breath with that. This gravity is a very, very, very strong force. So into a little bit, we've talked about it in Kihak to a degree. So you've got your consciousness, right? And then you've got your energy. Energy and consciousness work together, even though they're really not integrated as of yet, but they work together. Now, the moment that your energy is activated, meaning that the soul being, is choosing to do something, the energy gets activated and it activates into light. Light is just basically focused directional energy. It's going to serve a purpose. It's now going to do something, so it turns into light. But it's really just energy, just now kind of transforming into light. And it begins its kind of journey to you into this reality to support your experiences, to support life. And the moment that the light starts to move, starts to come into play into your experience, it creates a gravitational force. This gravitational force serves a very, very good purpose. It holds things together. It brings things into kind of a composition. It brings together even things like your eyesight, your hearing, your sense of smell, all your human senses. It brings it together. Otherwise, they'd be all over the place. Like right now, you're using almost all your senses for what we're doing here right now. It's held together by the gravity. It's a beautiful coalescing dynamic. It's a very beautiful dynamic. But over a long period of time, this gravity has been focused more and more on the physical, on this earth plane, been focused in the mind, and there was a true forgetting about the other side of gravity. Gravity doesn't just hold things in physical or emotional. It also is the very same force that opens everything up, that allows you to get into a focus and then allows you to open and expand. The physicists are just starting to talk about it, starting to realize there is another force, another side of gravity. They call it dark matter. I don't like the name at all because it's not dark. It just means they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And it's not matter at all. It's not solid. It's not mass. This has always been. It's the other side of gravity. Always been, but it's been forgotten. We've been talking about it in Kihak in some of the workshops, and I finally said we've got to give it a different name. And I recently titled it Aerotheon. Aerotheon. It's Aerotheon. Aero meaning air or atmosphere or openness. Theon, basically loose interpretation of the word spirit. So it's open and free spirit. And it's the other side of gravity. It's the part of gravity that opens things up, that transports you into other realms, that that lifts you up. Whereas regular gravity, as you know it, brings you in. There is a natural flow. As much comes in, will also now be basically expanding, ascending, going into the other realms. And it creates a beautiful loop at a certain point. If you're aware of it and you're allowing it, it creates a loop. So it's a constant bringing together, coalescing, opening up, and expanding. The gravitational forces are so important in moving to the next levels. But when there's only the one side of it, it would be like if you only had a masculine or only a feminine side, it would be terribly out of balance, and it wouldn't give you a very fulfilling life. But it's the same thing with gravity, holding you into one thing, holding you into mass consciousness, into old patterns, into this physical body. So the other side is the arotheon, the openness. And I'd like to start with Shaumbra now, starting to use that, be aware of it, to be aware of it. So you realize it's the and. You can be very condensed and focused here, and you can be very open. And it creates such a beautiful, it's almost like the infinity symbol. It's a very open, natural flow. So the question is that I've been pondering is, how do we do this? How do we do this? Do we do a lot of mirabs? Get a trampoline? Okay, but okay, it's okay. A good one, a trampoline, but it's always going to bring you down, right? But ultimately, after about 3 or 4 days, you're going to be down. So how do we do it? I'd like your suggestions and inputs because it perplexes me. What can we do now to open up, to break through? What tools? Can we share with Shaumbra all around the world? How do we get there? How do we break through the mass? And I'll tell you right now, if it's too much thinking, you only solidify the gravity. You only make it more difficult to get out. So we're going to pass the microphone, and I'm going to ask the back desk, would you please make a list as we go through? So say what you have to say, but then put it into like a few words or less. Okay. Mary Beth?
Mary Sue.
Mary Sue, thank you.
What I have tried on my own is to, sadness is one of mine.
Sadness, okay.
And I know that I go into sadness because it makes me go deeper. And I have such a desire to go deeper. So
I want to understand this. Sadness makes you go deeper.
Because something's not right and I want to figure it out.
Okay. I mean, do you like the going deeper into sadness?
I like going deeper, but I want to get out of the sadness part.
Okay.
So what I've been doing
Right.
is I go into a feeling of appreciation
Okay.
for what the depth has given me.
Okay.
And I just see this maybe you're going to call a visualization, but for lack of a tool, which I might get today,
Mm-hmm.
I just see the sadness flying away.
Okay. That really works well, doesn't it?
Well, it was my creation.
Sure. Oh, I love it. It's a great one. And it made it go away, right?
I wouldn't go that far.
Did it have any effect? Did it help reduce the level of sadness?
I would say temporarily.
10 minutes?
I haven't timed it.
And I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but I do want to use you as an example.
I will. Okay.
You get sucked right back into it.
Okay.
And it's that damn gravity that brings you right back into it. And the gravity, if it was a being, the gravity would be like, oh, oh, look at her. She's going to go into her sadness thing. I'm going to jump right in, and I'm going to help bring her very deep into it. And then
And then
she's
she
going to,
will
she's
go
gonna-
do it again.
yeah, and I'll be right here when she's doing it again. And it's like a boogeyman. It kind of mocks you, and it's like, okay, you try to get out, Mary Sue, and boom, we're going to put you right back in.
Okay.
It's frustrating, and it's very, very frustrating. And I say that type of gravity begets more gravity. It just keeps compounding.
Okay.
And you want to get out of the sadness?
I do.
Okay.
And I'm pretty good at lying to myself.
Yeah, well, that's good. She said she's pretty good at lying to herself. Yeah, aren't we all? Or you all? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. What do we do? What goes on the board here? Visualization, right? To feel appreciation. Okay, appreciation. Yep, on the board. Oh, as if by magic. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Adamus. What was the question again? Because
I forgot to in all the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
What can we do? How can we break through this gravity? Do we make anti-gravitational guns that we use, kind of a magnetic thing, and we shoot it at the gravity?
that would be awesome. But
Yeah.
I keep going back to allowing. I keep trying to allow more.
Okay. Right.
But I still kind of keep getting sucked back in.
Yeah.
So I haven't figured it out. But as soon as I start to try to mentally figure it out, I know I'm really far away.
Right.
So I go back to just breathe, allow, and be.
Yeah.
So I don't have any
How do you
skills.
allow? How do you personally?
I just personally open my heart
Okay.
and I just be. I
Right.
don't think, I don't process. I
Okay.
just,
Do you feel anything when that happens?
I tingle all
You
over.
tingle. Okay. Yeah.
And that's
And
kind of
then
it. And I
after-
just stay there.
After a good allowing, what happens?
I just have a lot of joy and my day goes on and I'm pretty
Okay.
happy. And yeah.
Have you noticed a difference in your life just with allowing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So let's put allowing on the board.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have to say that some Shambra are pretty good with allowing. It just means totally opening up
Yeah.
and not trying to do some, I am allowing, I'm a level 5 allowing now. I'm now at a level 6 allowing. And some of them are just terrible. They're using it as like a bad mantra. They're turning it into a discipline or an exercise. And the gravity boogeyman is just going, oh man, I got you so much here. You think you're allowing, and all you're doing is digging yourself deeper into my gravity. I got you. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Allowing. What else? Well, what can we do? This is for all Shambra. What can we do? The look on Galen's face when he get that microphone.
Give me a moment. I have to set this up.
Okay. You have to put the camera on yourself.
Yes.
That is very weird.
Please,
That is very weird.
Adamus, don't move. Otherwise, you'll be out of my shot.
Okay. So, what can we do, Galen, to get through this gravitational force?
I have been sort of feeling into this question a little bit. I'm feeling. My first thought was,
Can't think. Okay, but next. Go ahead.
okay, that, all right, if you're getting out of the gravity and it's sucking you back in,
Right.
then let it suck you somewhere else. I know.
Okay. Yeah, no comment on that. Where would someplace else be?
This whole topic made me think of like my own struggles with certain addictions, like drinking too much,
Right.
and how one of the ways I have superseded that is by doing something else instead, and using that same sort of act in regards to gravity.
Oh, drinking can get you away from gravity. No, it really, I mean, it can. Drugs, they can get you away from gravity until you wake up the next morning.
Yeah, and then it
And then you
sucks.
find out, oh, crap, I'm right back into it. Even worse. Now I feel bad. Yeah. What about drugs?
Not really. I mean,
No, don't you think they would help get you out of gravity?
yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever try any serious drugs? I know your mom's sitting there
No.
listening right now, but
Nothing like that.
no?
I think mushrooms a couple times, but no,
Yeah.
nothing harder.
Did you transcend when you were taking that?
It was a fun ride.
Yeah. Next day?
Mushrooms were okay. You know, there was not really a.
Right. Right. But the problem is, and I'll just pause for a moment while you collect your thoughts. But so you take drugs, you do ayahuasca or any of the others, and it's exhilarating. But then when you find yourself flat back in gravity, a day or two later, whatever, and you're still stuck, and your only way out would be just to keep taking these drugs. That's really depressing. And gravity's now got you once again. And saying, ha, 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 you thought that you're going to take that drug and you're going to break through. No, I gotcha.
I actually thinking about it. I'd like to change my answer.
Okay.
So, being creative
Yes.
recently, I mean, regardless of all the drugs and drinking and whatnot,
Right.
creativity,
Okay.
making things, building things.
Like, what are you making?
Currently, I'm. How do I even explain it? I'm a dungeon master for a tabletop game with some members of my family.
Right.
I made the entire world from scratch, wrote it out, built miniatures, but
Sounds like God to me.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But not only that, but giving life to it,
Right.
creating a
Sure. You're applying yourself, doing something.
theater, yeah,
Right. Okay. Great.
and watching people.
So what would we put on the board here for Shambra? Be a dungeon master?
It's not a bad idea.
And Galen, has it really helped you to break out, or is it a distraction? And there's no judgment on my part, but
From gravity,
yeah.
I feel like it breaks out.
Okay.
Not a distraction.
Okay.
Video games are a distraction.
Okay. Video
that.
games are.
Yeah.
This is not a video game.
This is not a video game. This is a tabletop in person. Like we're moving pieces, crazy things are happening. I'm narrating a story,
Right.
quite literally.
Right.
And
Yeah. Let me understand this.
Okay.
So you're not doing this as a video game.
No.
What changed in your life? Wasn't that, like most of your life?
You mean video games were most of? Yeah. So what
How
changed?
much time were you spending like every week on video games prior to being a dungeon master?
Like all week.
Really? Okay.
Prior to starting this.
And I'm trying not to move around because you are supposed to be operating the camera, but can you imagine the gravity of video games?
It's immense. It's very difficult to get out of.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it sucks you in.
Yeah.
And you're immersed in a game and it's kind of fun, but you are just being held by gravity.
In my experience, you lose your ability to be consciously present when you're playing a video game.
Right.
You're lost in whatever world and everything.
Right. Part of you is lost in that world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you put on the board here?
To condense or to summarize it, for me, creating a world that people can play in, watching it unfold, I put that
We
up
don't have
as-
a lot of room on.
I don't know.
How about creativity? Is
I put that in as something like building something.
okay. Creativity is good.
Well,
Yeah. Good.
okay.
Thank you. Okay. Back to that camera. Okay. Couple more. Yes. I am not seeing a lot of good. Well, they're okay tools, but we've got to bring this to Shaumbra all around the world. We got to kind of increase the pace here, get some stuff on the board. What do you do to get through gravity?
Well, being a longtime realm worker and now retired,
Right.
for me, it's imagination. I just
Good.
expand and imagine, and all of a sudden I'm going through time and space
Okay.
and meeting you on Haleakala, and we're at Haynesville's Peak and we're having conversations. I just go for
Good.
flaw out imagination and expansion.
Okay. Does your imagination ever get bogged down by mental?
When the alarm goes off in the morning,
Right,
all of a
right.
sudden I'm just floating along, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden the alarm goes off, or all of a sudden what pulls me back to gravity is, I've got bills to pay. I've got to get the dishes washed. I got to get the house stuff done.
Exactly.
Oh, mom's got to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, just all of a sudden the earthly things that bring me right down and
Yep.
pulls me right down.
Pulls
I'd
you right down.
much rather be flying
It
around.
almost erases a lot of that imagination.
Oh, yeah.
And the imagination is really good.
I love it.
Really, really good. But you just get pulled right back in.
Yeah, but it's getting easier. I don't
Yeah.
feel that rubber
Good.
band hitting as much anymore. Now
Yeah.
I kind of recognize it.
And that's a good one for the list. And it's one that all Shaumbra should really allow themselves to do, is just imagine.
Imagine.
Yeah, you're not making it up. In
No.
other words, it's not little fantasy. And so often people think, I'm just making this up, and it's, just mental BS. But it's really not.
And the dilemma in that too is that I have this imagination, but I don't have the creativity where, like, all of a sudden I want to put it into a world, or paint, painters, or music. It's just all in my realms.
But in a way, it's a gravity holding you and saying, well, you don't have the creativity.
Yeah,
You do.
to manifest, to put
Yeah,
something
but it's just,
tangible.
again, this all gets
That's-
coalesced and tight and in the brain. And again, taking a look at post Heaven's Cross, what is it? It's all right there. How come Shaumbra just isn't going right into it? And it's like, that gravity.
And then I don't say, well, what do I do with it?
Right.
What do I do with it? I used to sew. I used to maybe do ceramics. What do I do with it?
Yeah.
That's where my dilemma is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Couple more. We need a couple more for the board here. Hi.
Hello. I would say, kind of with that theme, I would say visualization.
Visualization. Okay.
Just because I'm so bad at overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that time and time again. It's like you think too much, you overthink things.
Yeah.
And I know that brain power can be your greatest.
Overthinking is great food for gravity. And just
It is.
just keeps everything together.
It is.
In a way that's good. It keeps it together, but except when you want to open up and then you can't because
Yep.
it's so tight. What do you imagine?
Another version of myself,
Uh-huh.
other than the one that is depressing and the one that, my family emphasizes and reinforces.
Yeah.
It's something that I know is possible, and just and
But what if I told you that other version of you, the one you imagine and you really would like to identify with, actually exists, not here in this physical realm, but it's existing, but it can't get through. It just because again of this gravity bubble, it just can't get through.
I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you stay in that gravity and then supported by family and your own self-perception and everything else. And then you try to get out and you try to break through and it doesn't work and then you're exhausted.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. A couple more. So visualization. I don't like visualization, by the way. It tends to be very mental and very limited. Most people don't really know how to visualize openly. So a lot of times, I'm sure you've come across in the past a visualization course, or if you want a new car, you visualize it, and then you don't get it, and then you think you're a bad visualizer, and then you get even more sucked into this awful thing of gravity. Yeah, and people, if you could use your imagination and visualize, that'd be great, but they don't. They visualize on a very linear level, and then it doesn't manifest, and then they think they're really bad. Okay, a couple more.
Hi. I was going to say allowing, and that's been, and I agree.
You can say it.
Allowing.
Okay.
Thank
It's
you.
already on the board.
I know.
How about something else?
Trust.
Trust. Okay.
What happened to me just this week, what I allowed, I guess, you had this new word in Kihawk, and I'm like, oh, great, Adamus, another word. How do you pronounce it?
By the way,
I have
we
it
need
written
that in the
down on my dining room
glossary.
table.
Yeah.
Arothema, Arothema, anyway. But
how do you
it's
say it?
there. And
How do you say it?
Arothema?
Arothian.
Arothia.
Yeah. Arothian.
Arothian.
Yeah.
Thank you. Arothian. So I was allowing it. This is, of course, has to do with my chili, this thing that had come up. And I said, I don't know what that is. I mean, I sort of feel it, the gravity going up, the water going waterfall, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to allow it. And I'm going to trust that it's happening. It's going to happen. I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I trust that
Good.
that it will.
Okay. And can you really trust yourself? To what degree? On a scale of 1 to 10, level of trust?
Oh, I trust myself.
Level of 1 to 10.
Oh, 1 to 10? 10, 9.5, 10, 10.
Sounds a little
everybody.
questionable to me.
No,
trust is a
yeah,
funny thing,
yeah.
and you do relatively well with trusting yourself. But sometimes, if it's not 10, it doesn't. You're not trusting yourself. In other words, that 1 point between 9 and 10 could be enough for that gravity to suck you back in.
And it's interesting. I don't put myself in there. I trust in the process, in Arothia.
Right. Okay.
I trust in that, and I'm just sort of along for the ride. Not
Right.
sort of, but I'm just in there.
Okay. Trust is a good one. Yeah. Can you overall, how effective is it? Are you very, very happy with it? Somewhat happy, not very happy, or it sucks?
Oh no, I'm happy with it.
Okay.
It's
Good.
it's going.
Good.
It's happening.
It's happening. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
2 more. And we have to move on. If anybody gets it right, I have $100 in Caldra's pocket. What do we bring to Shaumbra to help them break through this gravity dilemma?
Well, the first words that came up surprised me because they would normally irritate me, which were just let it go.
Let it go. Okay.
But I think in a sense of sidestep it.
Right. Battle it?
No,
No. Good. It doesn't work.
not at all.
Yeah.
But what was sort of forming, so I hope I can grasp it as I'm standing here, was do something new, something unexpected.
Okay. Give me an example.
So for several years now, ever since I left my career, I've been trying to find something that I want to do, that I enjoy, which will also earn me money.
What were you doing?
I trained as a lawyer. I was in academia.
Uh-huh.
So I used to teach and do research.
Okay.
Um,
Very smart, huh?
yeah, a little off the charts, apparently.
Yeah. And it can work for you. It can also work against
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, the voices in my head are
Yeah.
cacophony that I've been
Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah.
Give it
So, what do you do? What tool would you come up with for the board for Shaumbra? Do something new?
So recently, I started doing something where there's no money involved, and it feels surprisingly good, and it seems to get me out of the money game.
Okay.
And so I was wondering, maybe gravity is particularly present in certain aspects of our lives, like maybe video games.
Right.
Or television,
Right.
things that really feel like they have suction.
Yeah.
And for me, money, I guess, feels like it has suction, or at least parts of how we deal with money has
tremendous
suction.
amounts.
So
Yeah.
if I just am not in that, then I don't feel that suction.
Okay. What would be an example of not being in that?
So what I've started doing is free hugs.
Free hugs? Okay.
Yeah. So I just
Right.
painted a nice sign that says free hugs.
Right.
And I've been to different places.
Have you been arrested?
So no, but I have been asked once by security to leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where was that?
Because my soul seemed to be urging me to go do this at hospitals,
Uh-huh.
and I was a little hesitant.
Right,
It's like,
right.
really, you want me to go and stand in a hospital lobby with my sign?
Right,
But
right.
it also kind of made sense because I figured there's people there that might really need this.
Yes.
So I did.
Yeah.
And after a while, I could see
No, that
security
sounds like
getting
fun.
nervous.
Kinda
It
half
was.
crazy
It
fun.
was. Yeah,
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
And the responses from people are amazing.
Yeah.
And it feels like a much more balanced energy exchange.
Right.
Than doing something and getting paid.
Yes.
Um,
How about free hugs and then down in the lower corner, kisses $1?
No,
We
thank
won't go any
you.
further.
That's a boundary thing. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. No, I mean it's wonderful. Actually, it's humorous. It's crazy, and it defies gravity. It says, "I'm not going to get stuck in the. Well, I can't go give hugs. You try it at the airport. You
Yeah,
know?
I want to. I'm going to.
Yeah.
It's just over here. It was all a bit too hectic. But
Right.
last week I was in Paris and I did it in front of Notre Dame.
Oh,
so
good.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
How many did you give out?
That was actually the only time I counted because I haven't been counting because
Right.
it's not about the number for
Sure.
me. But actually, my daughter asked me. She was with me.
Mhm.
Can you count today, mommy?
Right.
And I think it was 13 people in about 20 minutes.
Wow. So what did you learn? That's fascinating. What did you learn from the experience?
First of all, it's not about the number. It's about me standing there.
Yes.
So there's been one time where there was nobody that responded.
Right.
And I realized I don't care.
Right.
And that was a big deal for
Yeah.
me.
I mean, for some people, it's a little weird. I
Yeah.
mean, somebody standing there with a sign, because they think they're going to get mugged. Give them a hug. You got the
Yeah,
pocket.
or I'm begging, or it's a
Right,
protest
right, you're
sign
right.
or something.
Yeah. Did you have a
Um,
nice sign or just a crude cardboard sign?
Now that I'm traveling, I have a bit more of a on-the-go type thing.
Right,
I
right.
still kind of drew some nice things on it.
Yeah.
Back home, I have one that is painted with pretty colors. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love watching people's reactions.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to be fascinating. And the bottom line is everybody wants that. But
Yeah.
then their gravity, their doubts come in. Is this, what do you call it, a Mooney, some religious nut standing out there, Jehovah's Witness, free hugs, but no blood. It's like, and then they wonder and their stuff gets triggered. But you know what? Everybody really wants it.
And it leads to interesting conversations because the security person that came to tell me that it was undesirable at the hospital.
That's a nice way of putting it.
I asked him, do you think so? Or does your boss think so? And if your boss thinks so, why isn't he here having
Could
a
I hug your
conversation
boss,
with me?
right?
Well, I ended up hugging the police at some point. So that was fun.
Yeah. Well, Calder's telling me this, but he said this could be a smash hit on what do you call it? Social media. The experiences of just going out with your sign and watching the reaction. Some people like, whoa, what a weirdo. Other people almost desperate for a hug. Everybody really wants a hug.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Would it be all right-
pursue that.
Sorry.
Go-
Would it be all right with Caldra if I gave you a hug?
Sure. Hug him too, though.
Well, it's his body. I don't want to presume.
We're gonna come on up on stage.
Oh, gosh.
We're gonna see how. Okay, you play the role of you standing there with your sign. I'm gonna play the role of a human walking by on the street one day.
Thank you.
You're a good hugger. Did you go to hugging school?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no, it's an art. Hugging is an art. It's can you, in that moment, just open up. It's not just a physical thing, but it's can you have a transfer of energy in that moment? And you did. Yeah.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah. Oh, appreciate it. A kiss for $1. Yeah. Okay. One more. Yes. Andy?
A sense of humor.
Sense of humor. That helps.
I've had a lot of luck with
Yeah.
just laughing things off.
Yeah.
I mean,
it works.
It does work because
Yeah.
people do stupid things.
Yeah.
Self included. But
Sure.
if if you've got a good sense of humor and you can laugh,
Mhm.
even with a broken leg or whatever,
Yeah.
it really helps
And
lighten
particularly
things up.
when you can have a sense of humor about yourself. People love that. Not to be self-deprivating, but to be able to laugh at your own foibles. And I'm a human, and let's laugh about it, because otherwise you get serious, and you can feel that gravity. You get too serious about yourself. And you can feel it just sucking in. You laugh, and it tends to open it up.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
had good luck with that.
Yeah. And the people around you, do they appreciate this sense of humor?
Some do, some really
don't. What about your partner?
Well,
Yeah.
she's getting used to it.
How long has it been?
The what?
How long has you been with the partner?
47 years.
And she's getting used to it. Now
Well-
that's funny. That is funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much longer do you think it'll take before she's fully accepting of it?
Well, that crosses my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, is someone else actually going to change?
What if you played a
knows?
trick on her, and for a week you had no sense of humor at all, just straight faced, nothing's funny?
That's like the old days when I ran the business and we're doing all the serious stuff.
Right.
I guess I could try it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that.
I don't think you could. I think you'd go like an hour and you'd collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
I'm past that.
Yeah. No, humor's good. Actually, these are all good on the board. Thank you, by the way. These are all good on the board. And I really pondered it. Oh, and I discussed it with some of the other ascended masters, and I spent a long time peeking in on so many of you, taking a look, and what do we do? What do we do these are all good, but what do we do that's not going to get us even more stuck? What are we going to do that is simple and effective, that doesn't turn mental? That's not just another exercise. By the way, I'm surprised why breathing's not on here. Breathing's a good one. They all add up, but I went through a list similar to this, probably had 10 times as much stuff on it. And I just found distraction in a lot of them, fault in some of them, more of this kind of a quicksand gravity effect in some. How do we break through simply, easily, without thinking, without laboring on any of these, without getting into mind, Calder doesn't want me to say it, but mindfuck games, like trust. Oh, I trust in myself. All you're saying is I don't trust in myself, and I'm just going to go deeper into the gravity. No, I really trust myself. I want to trust myself. And gravity is going, but you don't, do you? Here, let me help you out. Let me box you in even more, and then get you really frustrated about it. Humor is good, but can you always be funny? I mean, you can, Andy, but I really stressed with this. I think this is one of the biggest challenges I've had since probably some of the mystery schools. What are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? And I want it so simple, so easy, that it's just like spreading your wings and soaring on a beautiful current of wind. I mean, that easy. And then it occurred to me, the answer was already there. I had written about it hundreds of years ago in my book, Time of Machines. It was right there. And you think to yourself, well, you're an ascended master. Shouldn't you have known that right away? I was also human too, so I drag some of that with me sometimes. But I realized it's right there. I scurried back. I didn't have a manuscript, but I kind of went back through the imaginary pages right there. Right there on... in my book, it was on page 357. And it said it right there. Couldn't believe it. It's been sitting there the whole time. It's so easy. And it's as simple as, and you might laugh, or Andy might laugh, music. Music. I thought to myself, that's it. Now, not just any music. I mean, music is good, but stuff that's not inappropriate harmony with you isn't going to help much. But some beautiful music. And I realize, of course, my past is Saint Germain. I played many, many, many instruments, proficient at almost all of them. And I realized the importance of music in my life. Music is generally non-mental as a listener. And you listen to some beautiful music, and it brings you through that thickness of gravity like nothing else. It's not mental. You don't have to work at it. You don't have to mantra it. It's not a discipline. With the right music, it allows you to just go right through the old gravity into the arotheon, into the kind of the flow, the up and not up and down, but the in and out flow of gravity, opening up to let that what has been called dark matter serve you, the other side of gravity. That simple music. Now, again, not just any music. It has to really be appropriate for you. And the best music would be that which is written and performed by Shaumbra. And not AI generated music, because that's gonna add to the gravity. And you know, there's some beautiful music you may love, and I'm sure you've had the experience. You're just sitting there listening to some music and you feel transported. But what if we created, with Shaumbra musicians, created appropriate arotheon music? You just listen to it once in a while. You don't have to have a schedule. You don't have to work at it. It's just maybe you do a little breathing with it and allow. I love music because it's not, as a listener, it's not mental. Words are limited. Words are very, very limited. Music can open you up and transport you. So what if we embark on that with Shaumbra, maybe Shaumbra musicians out there, to do it, but it has to have just the right touch on it, just the right touch, and use that. Now, we're going to an example right now with our Mirab. This is not Shaumbra generated music, but maybe you can feel it as we go into it, how music can just help you expand beyond that dense gravity, that one-way gravity that you've been experiencing all of your life. So let's put on some music right now. And again, this is not Shaumbra created, but it'll give you a taste of it. Let's take a good deep breath. This is the year of going beyond gravity. The thing that's held in a lot of the issues, kept a lot of you from just realizing how grand you really are. When you listen to music, it can be non-mental, experiential. You just ride with the music, you just float with it. Take a good deep breath into it. I'm not going to say much here because I just want you to experience it. Let's have music up full. You don't have to do a thing. The Arotheon, that other side of gravity, is already there. funny thing happens, and just listening to the beauty of the music, it just suddenly comes into your awareness. There's so much more to gravity. It's just kind of like opening the curtains. Gravity that holds things in. And gravity that opens it up. And gravity that's kept a lot of issues in your life very held in place, very dense. But at the same time, there's the other side of it. Expanding, opening up. This is the natural role of gravity. Light never wants to inflict just a one-way gravity on you. It never wants to suppress you. It contains, your light contains this other side of gravity, the Erotheon, the openness. It's not even about sitting down and listening to music and then focusing on your issues, because you don't want to do that. It's simply letting yourself in the experience of gravity that works in all ways. Gravity that coalesces, holds things together. And the other side, the Erotheon that opens up, that expands. And in that Erotheon, it also transforms. It can take an issue that was held in gravity for a long time and now bring it past that. And the beauty is, you just have to listen. Music has wings. Because it's not mental, you're not thinking, you're just experiencing. It has wings, and it opens up that curtain. Could you imagine something so simple as this? You don't have to get philosophical. You don't have to have a schedule for listening. It's just taking a deep breath and allowing, letting the music transport you into the realization of the fullness, the full spectrum of gravity. Take a deep breath and just listen for a moment. Let yourself experience the full spectrum of gravity. I love it because it's all natural. I mean, it's already there. We're not having to create or construct the other side of gravity. We're not trying to break out. We're just allowing, through music, to come back to full spectrum gravity. It was right there on page 357 in my book. Wished I'd have known that about 10 years ago. Saved you guys a lot of trouble, huh? And the nice thing is you don't have to work at it. It's just, music is beautiful to begin with. It's such a beautiful application of energy. Music goes off into the other realms easy. It just easily flows into the other realms. Words don't. Words get stuck in this realm, but music, it just flows. And you can ride that music and let it carry you into full spectrum gravity. The very best music will be the stuff put together by Shaumbra. We'll work on this. We'll work with those musicians who might be interested in participating to create beautiful music that'll allow you to come back into the experience of full spectrum gravity. Gravity, a force that's really not understood by physicists. It's one of the most amazing dynamics. But it has two sides. It's not just to hold things in, it's to open things up. Any time light begins its journey to serve you, creating your creations, there's that element of gravity that makes it all possible, but gravity that works both ways. Take a moment again to ride this music and to feel the full spectrum gravity. It's always been there. Let's take a good deep breath together. In 2024, the rest of the world's going to be focusing on AI. We'll take a little bit different path. We're coming to full spectrum gravity in your life, not as a theory, but in your life. And then that will bring us to Love 2.0. They work hand in hand. Now, we'll talk more about this full spectrum gravity, music. We'll talk more about it. Don't make it a discipline. Just realize that you just listen and soar. Let's take a good deep breath together. Full spectrum gravity. That which brings things together, that which allows the expansion. With that, remember that all is well in all of creation. I am Adamus of Sovereign Domain. Thank you.
And so it is. Please feel into the beauty of this message for you, for each of us. So much to allow here. Can you just breathe it in and let it be there for you? This is just the beginning. Just the beginning. Take that good deep breath, staying open to this expansion, to this true beauty. Breathe it in again. And it's unique to each of us, absolutely personal. Breathe with it, flow with it. And so much thank you for being here, for being a part of this, contributing it in energy and words. Breathe. breathe for you that good deep breath of life.
Want me in my dreams, if you please. Your breath is with me now and always. It's like a breeze. So should you ever doubt me, if it's help that you need, never dare to doubt me. And if you want to sleep, I'll be quiet, like an angel, as quiet as your soul could be.